The Seattle Kraken win back-to-back games. The Nashville Predators take down the Vegas Golden Knights. And if our guys win, we're in. Let's talk about it on this episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Today's episode of Locked On Kraken is brought to you by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken. I'm your host, Erica L. Ayala, and yes, that's right. The Seattle Kraken are a win away. In order to clinch that wild card spot, we have to beat the Coyotes. Now, we can also lose in OT or in a shootout. And if the Predators lose to the Hurricanes, we would get in. We have a third case. And for spot number 8, the Predators lose to the Hurricanes in regulation and the Flames lose to the Jets. So it's all that to say, it's looking pretty good for us that as soon as tomorrow, we can officially clinch a playoff spot. I personally would like to just get it over with and get that W. So now it's been a little while since we caught up. Lots has happened. Grubauer was injured. He came back. Joy Decord was up. He went back down to our very own Coachella Valley Firebirds. We've seen Drieger get some time with the Firebirds. We've seen Martin Jones get back in net. But let's just talk about what happened last night. That's right. We get a win over the Arizona Coyotes, a 5-2 win. Or excuse me, we get a win. We got a win over the Coyotes. We got a win over an 8-1. An 8-1 win over the Coyotes. We get a 5-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Now, they were leading at one point in this game, but we were able to get the win. And even putting aside, the playoffs and all of that stuff, I wanted this win. If there is a villain in my Seattle Kraken narrative, it is the Vancouver Canucks. For so many reasons. Oh, so many reasons, including that this is a team that we should beat. And we did. So the Canucks scored the first 2 goals in the first one in the first 5 minutes of the game. Then just as we crossed the halfway mark in the first period. But then Yanni Gourde gets us on the board. He was assisted by Jesper Froden. Yes, Jesper Froden was in the game. Ollie Bjorkstrand was not with the team, but not because he's injured. Congratulations to him and his new wife as they are expecting their first child. So good reason to be out of the lineup. And we wish the best, of course, to Bjorkstrand and his family. Then we took over from here. It was 5 unanswered goals. We got Tanev on the board. Schwartz, Beniers got his 22nd of the season. That's my personal favorite number. But what I like about this is we've got a shorthanded goal by Tanev, a power play goal by Schwartz, and we have had a good penalty kill. Yes, I know. The Seattle Kraken had a good penalty kill. Between yesterday and the game before, we have really gotten it together on the penalty kill, or as Allison Lucan suggested, the power kill. And what has been the difference? Yanni Gourde saying to Piper Shaw, and then it's been written in a few articles, that just really focusing on little things, details. I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me, but this is what we needed from this team. You know, I've been critical. I have questioned. I have also re-emphasized what I believed was Dave Haxtell questioning if this team could find another gear. And as we see in, again, some of the articles, it's been a little bit of a seesaw. I think that's the language that Bob Condor used in his wrap-up of last night's win. And that's exactly what it's felt like. Who's going to step up? What's going to happen? How's it going to get done? I did like that last night Dave Haxtell was asked the question. I did not recognize the reporter's voice. So again, it was a road trip, so it might have been a beat reporter for Vancouver, but asking about getting contributions throughout the lineup. No one player had multiple points in this game. What does that mean for the Seattle team? We've talked about that before. And I do think it could have great potential for us as we are a team that needs to get a distribution of scoring. I look forward to it. You know, again, it's been a while since I've been since we've been together on the show, but I have been keeping up with the Seattle Kraken among all of the other things that I've been doing. Of course, I've been keeping up with the Seattle Kraken, and I loved what Spronger had to say the other day. Ding dong, Daniel Sprong, or what was the goal call that? Seuss got the juice. I mean, those are just two players that scored the other day against Arizona, and you know, I liked what Sprong was saying. I liked what the guys are saying. Spronger first was saying, listen, he said at the time, I had 22 assists, people. I can facilitate. And heck yeah, we've known that since way back when. I remember some of the fantastic assists that Sprong set up. He just has a knack and a nose for the net, and he's not afraid to go to the net. And sometimes you toss that thing up there. I think it was in Boston, right? In Boston against Boston. He threw something up against net, and it was Tanev that got that. So yes, I love that we're seeing multiple scores, especially this late in the regular season. April 13th, final home game of the regular season. By then, for sure, we should know that we've officially clinched. It's looking like we're going to fall into that wild card spot. I'm excited for this team. I'm not as nervous as I was about a week or so ago because we're starting to put things together. Let's talk about it more on this episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken is also brought to you by Indeed. When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could handpick the best stars for your business team? Well, if you're building a talented roster, you need Indeed. That's right. Just like your favorite fantasy sport, with Indeed, you are given the opportunity to take your team into your hands by making sure you find the exact characteristics that you need. Things like you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Seamless makes it easy for you. You hate waiting? Indeed's US data shows that over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. So post haste, let's get it done. And now with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that meet your hiring criteria. You can visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. So if you need high quality team players, you need Indeed. Go check it out. Indeed.com/lockedon today. All right, Seattle sports fans, welcome to our second segment here. I want to talk about where we stand in these here standings. Now, just about everyone has clinched but us. But, we did not stay in that top three. I know I talk about that round table, but I kind of called it. Edmonton was surging, and they've got that experience. They are in second place overall in the Pacific Division. They actually, at the moment of this recording, have leapfrogged the LA Kings and, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights. All three teams have clinched. You've got Vegas sitting at the top of the table, 104 points, 48 wins. Edmonton, 46 wins, 101 points. And the LA Kings, 45 wins, 100 points. Where are we? We have 43 wins. We have 43 wins. I love that for us. I love that for us. We can double the amount of wins we had in our first season, in our second. We have 94 points. So we've got some work to do. Winnipeg is at 43 wins as well. They have 89 points. So we get them with the win percentage. Calgary and Nashville. You know, Nashville, a little engine that could. Love that they handed Vegas a loss, but we got to keep an eye on them. We're still in good position for a wild card. I'm not going to lie, between Winnipeg, Calgary, and Nashville, I'd like to see some good things happen for our friends over in Nashville. The Tolvanen revenge tour, we got half of it, okay? They got revenge on us. We got revenge on them. I mean, I thought our revenge looked better, but, you know, bygones. Either way. Nashville currently with 39 wins, a 5.58 win percentage. I always want to say save percent. It's a win percentage. So, you know, everyone's got eyes on Nashville. We'll see what happens there. But Seattle, baby, I told you, these again, the scenarios are pretty straightforward. We win and we're in. We win and we're in. And yeah, there's a little bit of luck here and there, blah, blah, blah. We want to win. And we won in a pretty big way against this team that we're going to play. So I don't know why they decided to load us up with Arizona and Vegas towards the end of the season, but it's a familiar opponent. We've seen that a handful of times, quite honestly, in the last month. What was it? It was Nashville, Arizona now, Vegas again coming up. So, you know, I don't think that the games against the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be as dramatic as they potentially could have been. I would have liked us to be, you know, a little a little closer to the top of the table. I think we let some things slide. We got a little fatigued, but you know what? It's all right, baby. We could double our wins from last season. I would like to see it. We make the playoffs. Hell to the yeah. And we get that playoff experience. We talked about it so much. That's critically important in any sport, but certainly in the NHL. And listen, Jared McCann, our goal-scoring phenom this season, has continually been telling media he wants a Stanley Cup. He wants a playoff run. He's shown us through his actions that he is serious. He's just sharing it publicly now. But Jared McCann has done everything he needs to do to be the real deal. And that's the kind of character that the Seattle Kraken wanted in big supply when we started our team. And I would argue that given what we know, and Jared McCann being the first player to get that contract extension, that Jared McCann had been putting in the work, and that the Seattle Kraken wanted to make sure that not only that they rewarded him for the work that he put in even last season, which was tough for us in so many ways, but that they rewarded him for the type of character, for the way that he goes about his work. And to me, those are the building blocks of a true championship team. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's looking really good that we're making the playoffs this season. So again, I talk about that spaces. I didn't think it was going to happen. I think we're showing up a little early to our own party. I'm not mad. It's when you're late. It's when you're late that we don't like it. All right, let's talk a little bit more about all of that coming up. And I'm going to give you also a little bit on the Women's Worlds that started today. We've already got, at the time of this recording, two games in the books. And Canada coming up soon. We'll talk about it. That's coming up on this episode of Locked On Kraken. mentioned it earlier, but this episode of Locked On Kraken is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, we know that the NCAA tournaments are done. Congratulations, LSU on the women's side. Congratulations to UConn on the men's side. But we also, just like in the NHL, are marching towards the NBA playoffs. So right now is the time to get in on that no sweat first bet that FanDuel has for new customers. What does that mean? You place your bets and you will get bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't quite pan out, up to $1,000 worth of bonus bets. That's what I kind of like to say is kind of a sure thing. You want to go for it. So we're talking player props. We're talking bigger payouts with same game parlays. They've got it all over at FanDuel. So don't miss your chance on this no sweat first bet, up to $1,000 in bonus bets they're giving you when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. Also there on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. That's FanDuel.com/locked on to learn more. Make every moment count with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Seattle hockey fans, it is happening. We are getting and marching closer and closer to the playoffs. I love how we win against the Canucks. I feel like I was alluding to this and then I went on a tangent. Tangent, I know, crazy. But whether it's the Canucks or the Arizona Coyotes, the guys were asked, especially against the Coyotes, about absorbing kind of that physical play. They knew they were down, looking like they're going to get another loss. How do you absorb that and not kind of feed into it? But then we also saw that, they had to muck it up against these guys and so I like that balance. I like the balance of being able to know, listen, this is how this game is going. And that doesn't mean we have to play that way. But also, if you start something, we gonna finish it. If you start something, we are going to finish it. And that's how I need my boys to play. That's what I'm talking about. That's okay. Angel Reese up in Caitlin Clark's grill talking about size me up for my ring. Okay. That's what we need. Now, some people feel a little bit one way or another about taunting. And listen, I'm not here to have that conversation with y'all today. What I'm talking about is whether you verbalize it or express it outwardly or not, it's that moxie. We got to have swagger. We got to have moxie going into the playoffs. That is the one thing that I feel like, other than defense and at times goaltending, has been missing from this Seattle Kraken team. Or shall I say, has not been consistent. I want the moxie. I want the piss and vinegar. I want for me, it's not fights. For me, it's not. I think that's one way of measuring what I'm talking about. But you guys know me here on Locked On Kraken, your host. I could do without hockey fights. But the piss and vinegar, the moxie, yes, all day, give it to me. I love that. I want to see us with some fire in our belly. We're going to need that moving forward. It's not all, you can't run always on emotion, but you got to know when to tap in. And so that's something that I've liked in the last handful of games. Again, I've been on the road, been wrapping up the women's hockey season, trying to get like a little blippity blip of rest before getting ready for women's WNBA season or women's basketball, closing out women's basketball and going into the WNBA season. So Stewie's in New York. That's all I got to say. I know some of you didn't like that, but it's true. It's true. She's in New York. I'm not in New York, but Stewie is. Anyway, what's next for our guys? We got to win tomorrow. So we'll have a game day episode. I'm super excited. It's been a minute. Like I said, I've really been trying to prioritize rest. I hope you guys are too. But we've got Arizona and Chi-Town at home. Then we hit the road back-to-backs against Arizona and the Vegas Golden Knights before we take on Vegas on Thursday. It's a Thursday, the 13th, not Friday, the 13th. Thursday, April 13th, Climate Pledge Arena. That's a wrap on the regular season. I am trying desperately to get out to that game on the 13th. It's still very much TBD because I will be in New York on the 10th for the WNBA draft and then have some business to handle. But hopefully I'll get out and celebrate with you. Stay tuned, though, to Locked On Kraken to learn more, and we'll see where that lands. Either way, we've got these are games that we should have on lock. Arizona, we've got them 2 more times. We know what we did, 8-1 win earlier this week. Chicago. Now, the last time we played Chicago, it was not pretty. It was not pretty. We did win. And we got ahead early. I forget where I was traveling from, but I was traveling. I remember because I was in Chicago when we played Chicago, at least for a time. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. So we need to tighten up, get playoff hockey ready against Chicago because they can be a little funny. Arizona, again, they got physical, so we need to stay composed. I think 2 interesting matchups to have back-to-back before. There's a game in between Chicago and Arizona, but and then we go Arizona, Vegas. And listen, they're the top dog in the Pacific Division. We played LA. Wasn't a great game, a little bit of a sleepy game for us. So we got 2 games against Vegas to close out the regular season. I really want to see Seattle get specific and particular about some things. We've seen that the improvement on the penalty kill. I want to see improvements. This is the time. Refine them, feel good about them going into the postseason, because this is where I'm not going to be, we talking about practice. I'm going to be like, are we getting our naps in? Are we, do we have bananas and peanut butter ready to go? Because we need recovery. That's the name of the game from here on out. Injuries given. Everyone's exhausted. So what are you doing to recover? Anyway, Women's Worlds, we had Japan versus the United States. Japan scored first. And then the United States scored all the goals after that. We also had Finland versus France. Finland took that win. Tonight, it is Canada versus Switzerland. That's coming up any minute here by the time this is ready to go. Women's Worlds, make sure you're following the Ice Garden. The Athletics doing a pretty good job. And of course, over on Black Rosie Media, we will have updates. And on the Friday edition of Locked On NHL, yours truly will be doing her women's hockey showcase. So you best believe we'll talk about it then. Hold fast. Stay true. We're so thankful to get good, positive updates coming from Andy and his family. Still sending good vibes, healing vibes, loving vibes to Andy and the whole crew. Until our next episode, peace, love, and light. Let's go Kraken.